let's discuss the famous reel that you made. How fun is that? It got like every morning I wake up and my phone's like blowing up. 30 notifications, 20 notifications. Your reel got 20 million views. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I have had a reel blow up like that. No, I looked at like what it means to be viral, and it's like you gotta have like 1 million views. So we're not even close to scratching the surface, but we're viral for the sense of Lotus Rising. We're viral.
Yes, Lotus Rising is viral.
Famous. Yeah, so I've been not happy with Instagram because they like shadow banned me because they said that I was doing automatic behavior like every other fucking small business out there. Because we schedule, like you do all the scheduling and stuff, and it's it's through an automated service that we use that is integrated with Meta.
Yes.
And so they shadow banned me. They were like, we don't think you're a real person. We think you're a bot. And I was like, fuck you, Instagram. I worked my ass off to get this where it is. And you've worked your ass off to get this where it is. And you're going to like shadow ban me. So I stopped posting reels because for the longest time they were getting like 10 views. And before I was averaging like 1,000+ views. And so I finally posted this one. I was like, I've been seeing this trend on TikTok. It's hilarious. I finally watched it like come across Instagram. And so I was like, I'm gonna make a video about what it's like to be a therapist. Gonna just say some like generic stuff that like every therapist experiences, and people love it. It's hilarious.
Relatable. It's so relatable in the therapy world, especially with what you therapists are going through. I didn't understand the math one. I thought that was funny.
Oh. It's like an inside joke that like therapists do.
Okay, because I was like, I don't understand, but that was funny because I don't know how to do math either. So, no, it was just very funny and very relatable, and good job on that reel.
Yeah, the math one. I think about the math one a lot because when you run your own business, you can outsource your accounting, but I do my own accounting. I like pay a tax person to do my taxes, but like every month I fill out my little spreadsheet, and every month it comes out incorrect, and every month I have to redo it until it's correct.
Yes, you do.
The numbers don't add up. But eventually they do. Right. Yeah, so therapists are just notoriously bad at math, so that's why we choose a soft science instead of math.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that was funny. But good job on the reel. Good job on it all. So yeah, let's dive in.
Thanks. Hopefully we'll start more momentum on Instagram again. Welcome to Reality Check, where we decode the drama, debunk the myths, and deep dive into the mental health matters portrayed on the TV screen. My name is Selena, and I'm a licensed therapist.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline.
And this episode, we are going to cover National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
Tell us, Jacqueline, your thoughts. Let's do a synopsis or recap.
Yeah. So let me do a recap real quick. Why is it America's favorite? I'm still figuring that out. But
same.
No, the recap is so the recap about this is it starts off with he's having road rage, and I don't remember his name. Clark, the main character.
I made a little family tree.
Good. Yes. See, when I was in school and I'd take notes, my notes were very like little, and then my friend would have, in-depth notes, and then I would look over and take her notes and add to what I think I needed. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
We're recreating high school.
Yes. No, so Clark, it starts out with Clark having road rage. He's just driving along, and some guy he thinks in his mind is challenging him to drive. And so it's just kind of like a back and forth thing between him and this other vehicle, which is a truck. It ends up that his car gets stuck I don't know the name of it, in between the two tires of a semi because he's underneath it. And then velocity takes over and whips his car out of there, and they go down, tumbling down a hill. That entire scene, the mom is like, please slow down, please stop. And he's just thinking, no, 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 I need to do it. I need to do it. He had no regard that his family was in there. He had no regard that none of them were buckled, as at the end of that scene, the daughter or the son is like flown forward and ends up in the mom's lap. Miraculously, they lived. So then they're going and they find the tree. They find the perfect tree. And of course, the tree is bigger than ever, can't even fit in the house. They shove it on top of the car and they get it home. And this entire time, the wife is just going with the flow, understanding that's her husband and let him be happy for Christmas. It fast forwards to him in the office, and he's really trying to like, I don't know, he's just talking about Christmas and, really happy for their raise. And I guess everyone gets like a Christmas bonus and all that. But I did notice that he drinks out of a Tasmanian devil cup, which we'll circle back to because that says a lot with the movie.
Foreshadowing.
That's the word, yes. And then it really fast forwards to him laying in bed with his wife talking about Christmas and how he really, really, really wants all their family together, his side and her side. And she, being the realist, was like, we don't have the room. When we get them together, it's nothing but fighting. I'm always pleasing everyone and running around and making sure it's good. It's a lot of work. He doesn't see that. He just sees, no, Christmas is about family. Christmas is about being together, and I want that. So she goes along with it. And everyone comes over, and of course, the chaos happens. Well, as that chaos is happening, he's so involved in the lights, and he wants all these lights up. And that scene just really irked me because it's like, think about the breaker. Like, just think. And they were just going back and forth. What?
We're gonna light the house on fire.
Yes, yes. They were going back and forth on like plugging it in, not plugging it in. And the riff off with the neighbor just, I think, was in it just for a comedy thing. Not like the entire thing wasn't a slapstick comedy, but let's add more in it. But yeah, he fell off the roof and she just opens the door like, where are you at? Okay, bye. And he's like, I'm here. But yeah, he's just so involved in the lights. He's so involved in making it a bigger and a better and a great experience for the kids and family. And throughout it all, he is avoiding the family because he's out there messing with the lights the entire time while she's inside making dinner and dealing with the chaotic mess of a slobbery dog and a cat that lights up on fire. He's too busy, dealing with the Christmas of it all, and she's dealing with the family part of it all. And at one point she asked him, are you avoiding the family? You're never inside, like you're never present. And he is just so caught up in, I need to do bigger and better, and nothing is ever good enough because he just wants that big theatrical thing. When he got locked up upstairs in the attic, I don't know how that thing doesn't reopen, but it's stayed closed. It took him back to memory lane, and it reminded him, like, you don't need all the fun things. It's, that picture was black and white. That movie was black and white, and he was just as happy. They were just as happy. You don't need the lights. But he's mentally checked out of Christmas when it comes to the family part of it all. His brother really irked him. He's just not a fan of him until at the very end when he doesn't get his raise, even though he put his money in a pool. He threw his money in a pool that he thought he was getting and didn't get, and his brother came through and kidnapped his boss. His brother came through and kidnapped his boss and made him really think, like, while you're sitting in this penthouse, we're over here trying to, make do with what we got. And, he couldn't even buy his own kids Christmas, like any presents. His kids were like, Santa's not coming, Clark, like, or Uncle Clark. we don't have that, like mom and dad said Santa isn't coming, so that really tugged on his heartstrings again. But yeah, kidnapped the boss turned it around, gave him a bonus, on like a double bonus pretty much, and it was that was pretty much the end of it. And he realized that family is what Christmas is, not the lights, not the extravaganza, not the you know
Mhm.
the glam and glitz of it all.
So let's I forget who said it, but there was a quote in there. It was like, "It's the holidays. We're all miserable here." Which is so like, I think a lot of people feel that way of it's the holidays, like this is a miserable time of year. Because we have the aunt who can't remember anyone's name, who says grace and as the Pledge of Allegiance. And
She was so cute. I love
side
when the
note,
husband yelled at her. He's saying to say, he's trying to say grace. Hey, pledge allegiance.
it's so funny. Okay, so side note, there was lots of little tidbits that reminded me of my family. So this aunt that reminded me very much of my grandma. God rest her soul. She would, towards the end of her life, she had dementia, and we took her car away, and so she couldn't go Christmas shopping. So she would wrap things from her house and give them to us.
Jello.
The Jello, the cat. My grandma gave me a pair of rubber gloves once because so now it's like a family joke that like my mom will sometimes give me rubber gloves for Christmas as like a reminder of her mom like giving me rubber gloves for
I
Christmas.
love that.
So when I cackled when I watched that part. So that's just like a fun little tidbit. So it's the holidays, we're all miserable here. So the family comes in, like there's no space. They're all yelling and screaming, and they're trying their darndest to make the meal, but the turkey has been overcooked by what looks like 100 hours of overcookedness.
It was so
and they
dry.
all and they all eat it because they all feel bad, which is so sweet. And also like, don't eat that. Like, stop eating that.
People pleasing.
Yes, people pleasing. This idea, I think this overarching theme of like it has to be perfect. But in this trying to strive to make Christmas perfect, it actually makes everyone miserable. Right? And so
I
Clark is like,
agree.
I want this to be perfect. I'm like getting the lights, and he asked his son, and his son's like, I don't want to do this. Like, we don't need 2,000 lights on our house. Like, um, and then he spends all of the time, to what you were saying, all of the time outside on these Christmas lights and not actually with family because he's so consumed with having the perfect Christmas. But he's missing out on Christmas
Yes, he's missing out on Christmas and he's letting his wife down majorly.
and his family and his kids.
And
Um,
that brings us to the cup he was holding.
the cup he was holding. Yes, I also noticed a Tasmanian devil cup. It's very much It's very much foreshadowing. And to him, he's so reckless. He comes in like the Tasmanian devil, just like swirling around, reckless, like the Christmas lights, the way they were plugged in. I I have I am very concerned about like my Christmas lights being plugged in, like even just overnight when I'm sleeping because I don't want my house to burn down. Like, cause Christmas time, like Christmas lights are flammable and your house will burn to the ground. And he's got them like plugged into like extension after extension after extension, which is a fire hazard. So he's like reckless, and he's reckless with the ladder, and he's on the roof when there's snow on the roof. So he is
Yeah,
just like, he is unaware of the dangers that he's putting himself in and his
yeah.
family.
He's so unaware because it's like we keep saying he's just wrapped up in Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of that irked me a little bit because I say what's on my mind. Of course, it gets me in trouble. Go figure. But I do. And I just felt like the wife needed to say, hey, I need you to come inside. Let's take care of the family. Let's help everyone find a place to sleep. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like, help me out in the house. And there was a point where I don't know if it was her dad or his dad or whoever was like, when they were driving away and he was stuck in the attic. And she's like, no, 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 we need to stay for Clark. I'm sure Clark wants to come. And they were like, no, let's go. Like, they know
He could
what comes with
himself.
him. They know that where he goes is a wreck and a mess, and that's his flaw. That's also who he is. Unfortunately, that's a flaw and who he is, and they don't want to be around it, because they don't like that part. They don't
Mhm.
like that side.
Yeah, they just want him to be in the family, not focusing on getting like the perfect gift or the perfect Christmas lights or perfect tree or whatever.
Yeah, and I just wish the wife would have said something, because a lot of
Mhm.
times when you want to make your significant person happy, you just go along with the flow of it, even though you are boiling inside.
Yes. So let's talk about their relationship a little bit. In the beginning, they're laying in bed and she is like supportive of his dream. But also in the beginning, I think she does a good job of like balancing of like he wants to have the perfect Christmas and she is like, you overdo it. And he's like, when have I ever overdone it? And she was like, vacations, holidays, funerals. Like it starts listing. She said funerals. She starts like listing off birthdays, like all these occasions, and he just like overdoes it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she like lets him have it, right? She like lets him do his thing. He knows it's gonna make him happy. She does the drum roll when he's like trying to plug in. They all like get on board. And they try, and then it comes to a point when he finds out he's not getting his bonus and he loses his shit. And he like calls his boss every name under the sun and goes out and like cuts down the tree in the yard because the first tree burnt down. And the squirrel comes in and like that wreaks havoc. I've never seen people so scared of a squirrel before. And it just he like loses his shit, and that's when she like is finally like, you need to like recenter and like come back and like just be with family. And but everyone like goes to leave first, and he's like, no, no, I figured out the meaning of Christmas, it's family. So she balances. I think she could like speak up a little more.
She balances. She definitely balances.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give her a trophy for everything she balanced, because I could not put up with that. When that slobbery dog came in and just snotted everywhere. I mean, my history is I used to work in the vet clinic, so I don't see that dog as just a dog. I see the breed. I see what that breed comes with. I see everything that breed has, and I'm just like, please no. Like, please don't. That snot, that drool. I mean, you're constantly cleaning walls and presents and wherever that dog goes. The cat wasn't so bad. I did like the cat. It didn't get into anything, minus chewing on the
Being
electric
electrified.
cords. Yeah. But what cat doesn't try and do that? But she did. She is a saint for doing everything. She came through for him. She just really balanced it all and didn't lose her shit.
Yeah, I think if Clark were to go to therapy, he could work on being more aware of himself, of
Mhm.
his anger that's like pretty under the like pretty right on the edge of the surface there with the road rage. It was super cringy for me because I mean, granted this was the 80s, but now you could not do that. Like someone would shoot you and you would die. Yeah, so I was like very like real in the 2023. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kill his whole family by doing this like road rage thing. Um, but yeah, so like more self awareness of like you have people in the car. It is not important that you are in front of this truck. It is not important that these lights are hung. You need to like secure the ladder and not get on the roof when it's there's snow on the roof. And also putting a down payment on a pool when you don't have money to clear the check is also reckless. Also, as someone who has owned an above ground pool, they are a money suck. If you don't have money for the down payment, then you don't have money to maintain this pool. Pools are expensive. I don't recommend them. Get a friend with a pool.
So we do recommend them, just not us.
And yeah, don't have one yourself. Have a friend with a pool.
There it is. Yes, we recommend pools.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. Yeah, no, it's just everything. I guess I just want to know what makes this an American favorite holiday movie, because the entire time I was watching it, and I wasn't watching it with like a logistic brain, like I wasn't like picking it apart, like that can't happen. I was watching it in a feel good moment, but I still didn't laugh. I didn't think any of it was memorable or something that I want to walk around quoting or buy a shirt that has any of its quotes on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. And so like help the world, or maybe just me, why is it such an American loved Christmas movie?
Girl, you're asking the wrong person. So here's the thing about me and movies and my humor. I have found through conversations, one, I haven't seen a lot of movies that people have seen. So I've never seen this movie. I just knew, I like Googled what's a popular Christmas movie, and this was in like the top 5, and I was like, cool, let's do it. I know I've watched the Christmas Vegas vacation, or not the Christmas Vegas, the Vegas Vacation one, and that was chaotic. And I thought like, oh, there's probably plenty of chaos for us to like dissect. I don't know. I think because it's like slapstick, like funny, goofy, I have a weird sense of humor and don't find that funny. So yeah, I think a lot of people do find that funny though. That like he's walking in the attic and the plank comes and hits him in the head and he turns around and he does it again, and like haha, that's funny. There were parts that I did think were funny, like the aunt who said a Pledge of Allegiance and sang the Star Spangled Banner Spangled Banner at the end. Like that was funny because she's
That
kind of like
was,
senile and just like off the wall goofy, but like hurting herself is not funny to me. I think that's not funny to me.
yeah. I yeah, the pain part of it all, I guess that's the slapstick. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
It physically hits him.
Yeah.
It was not funny, but yeah, I just watched it, and at the end of it, I was like, okay, yes.
I think the big overarching theme, though, with the movie is this idea of a perfect Christmas. And I think thinking about the neighbors, how they were doing nothing Christmassy. They had no kids. There was no family. They were very into their jobs and like they loved each other and but like weren't getting along because the Griswold's Christmas spirit was like literally coming into their house. And those poor people. How awful of neighbors to have. Like,
Yeah. Well,
but
I
I
mean,
think
I think they know that happens every year, so they should have. Well, they don't have to, but I would have taken a vacation during that time because I would know the house is going to be chaotic.
or get blackout curtains.
Yeah, set up cameras so in case your house gets wrecked, you know where it's coming from, and enjoy your vacation.
They but I think they are the complete opposite. So the Griswolds were like pro Christmas, everything Christmas is perfect, but I think they show us an alternative, an extreme alternative of what Christmas could be too. Like there's no family, you're sitting in a dark house by yourself, and like there's no tree, because there was a point in time where I don't know her name and I only know her as Elaine from Seinfeld. Yeah, so Elaine in this movie, she was like, maybe we should get a tree. So like their Christmas spirit is becoming contagious. But then it's like, it's too much. It's like literally coming into their house. So yeah, I think this idea of you can have two opposite Christmases, the idea is probably somewhere in the middle of it doesn't have to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be nothing either. You can make it whatever you want. And so you're seeing two options of what you can make it into be, but there's also a plethora of more options that you can make your Christmas into be.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That is
one thing too that I want to talk about. There was a moment towards the end, Clark was talking to his dad, and his dad was like, holidays were always a mess. And Clark was like, well, how did you get through it? And he responded, well, Jack Daniels got me through it. So I think we all have our vices. Some people choose wine. But he's having this conversation, right? And if we cut back to the scene where he's locked in the attic and he's watching his old videos of him growing up, he's looking at it like, these were the best days. These were the days that I want to recreate. And then we talked to his dad, and his dad were like, they were a mess. They were chaotic, right? And I think that's so true for a lot of children that grow up and they realize like Christmas wasn't always perfect. And so there's this pressure to make it like it was when we were a child. But we're looking at it through our adult eyes now. Which don't notice. I mean, they notice, but they don't notice like how hard you work to put up the lights and put up the tree. They just notice the tree. They notice the lights. They notice if dad is present. They notice if the tradition is the same, right? They notice
that part. Tradition.
It's tradition and nostalgic. And so when we grow up, there's this pressure to like make it so perfect like it was through our child eyes, but we're not children anymore. We're adults. And so some of us lose sight and like focus more on the perfection of it rather than like the intention of it.
Yes. I think what a lot of people struggle with is tradition. Everyone wants to keep the tradition the same. No. We always meet at Auntie Carol's. We have to go to Auntie Carol's. Well, why can't we just go to, Auntie Barb's? Like Barb might have it's tradition. No one wants to step out of that box because the tradition was to go to Auntie Carol's and not Auntie Barb's, but through the child's eyes. And then as we grow up, when Auntie Carol goes and, to heaven, we then have to change our tradition and go to Auntie Barb and make that tradition different. And I don't think that's what's his name? Clark. I don't think that's what Clark understood was like, yeah, he wanted to keep that tradition alive, but like, I think it was easier when it was at someone's house. He didn't see the struggles. He didn't see all that. And like you said, he's sitting down and watching the videos and he's like, that looked easy. Like, that looked so easy. And they're like, yeah, because you were a kid. You didn't have to put the lights up. You didn't have to make the ham or the burnt turkey or whatever.
Yeah, we get stuck on the who, what, when, and where, right? That it has to be at this house and it has to be this dinner and we have to have a tree that's this big or what have you. But when we're kids, it's about like just having fun. It's about ripping open the presents. It's about playing with whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be like a big fancy present. We see videos of little kids opening like a potato and they're so excited about the potato, right? Like it's not about the present, it's about like this tradition of opening the presents. It's about the tradition of like playing with the new toys or eating the cookies or whatever. It's not about them being perfect. It's about just like this intentionality of being connected and being present. That's what made it fun for the kids.
Yes, and I think he didn't see that because he was a kid, and then now he jumped to adulthood, and he's like, "Oh, this is a lot of work."
Yes, This has been Reality Check. Just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean that I am your therapist. If this has struck a chord inside of you and you feel some type of way, we highly encourage you to seek out therapy. Thanks.
Bye.
And we will be taking a little short break between episodes as we celebrate the holidays and take some time off and take some time for self-care for both of us. We really hope that you've enjoyed these episodes, and we cannot wait for next season.
Yes, we will see you next year. Oh, I can't say that on this one. That's the other ones. Damn it. We'll see you next year.
See you next year. Bye.
Bye.